Good. You're not wearing blue.
I know. There's blue in the background.
Calvin, I'm so disappointed.
Do I need to go put on a blue shirt?
Yes.
Okay.
I will blue for you today. Literally shirt and pants.
I'll be right back.
I'll go put on a blue
shirt. We're live. We're live now, by the way.
Oh yeah, we are live.
Yeah, I'll start recording once the well, actually there's no need to record because we're streaming live.
Yeah, we're gonna be good.
Yeah. It's very convenient.
Wait, Sam, it's live, right? Like on
Yeah,
Facebook.
it's live. Yeah, it says live on Facebook, so I hope so. Oh, how many people do we think we're gonna get? I don't think we're gonna get that many.
Okay, I'm back. I have a shirt on. Actually, it's a dress, but I'm wearing blue now, so I match.
Hey.
Beautiful.
So Anthony said he'd be late. Do we have any more other people who said they were gonna be late today?
Only Anthony told me he was gonna be late. Let's see. Do we have enough people? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We definitely don't.
5, 6, 7, 8. Did we count?
Patty, are you okay?
Okay, we have 12 with us.
I to cook and it was really hot.
Oh.
Yeah, I burned myself yesterday using the oven.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to turn it on because, yeah, it was hard.
No, I feel that. These ovens are weird.
Ah, they're hard.
I think we need 2 more SGA people before we can begin.
There's more people from the sophomore class that should be coming. We have Karen and Mariano right now. We definitely need more from I'm gonna go text Obi and Talia.
Talia's here.
Oh, never mind. Hi, Talia. Oh, I did see you.
We have 14 right now. We need 1 more.
Karen, Talia, or Mariano, do you want to message the sophomores in Slack or text?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you, Mariano.
Nathan, can you message the juniors if people
Yeah,
are?
I gotcha. Also, fun news, the Oxford vaccine trial was just halted due to a serious adverse reaction, and we're never getting out of this.
No, that's not fun news. Did you see how excited I got?
No, I'm like, look, I tried to read this, y'all have to read it too.
No, that's not how it works. Spread good vibes, not bad vibes. I would like to live in oblivion. Come on.
You can't preface it. You can't bait us
Okay,
like
that was
that.
a
I thought you
very
were
obviously
also
sarcastic fun
sir.
If
No,
I'm like,
that was not
"Why
very
you?"
obvious. Like, I'm normally very
Ew.
exactly.
See, everybody
Just
feels
saying them.
baited. Everybody feels tricked.
Nathan, normally you start getting people walk in and you're like, fun.
You hurt the freshman before even Ronnie D had a chance. No, this is recorded.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Yeah, we're live. Reminder, we are live on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
I
we're live.
apologize. I apologize.
2 people watching. Hope you're having a great day.
Just for them? Dang, way to be exclusionary. All right, I see.
You too, Brianna.
Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Attendance, right?
I am taking attendance. I'm trying to pull up the agenda really quick so I can actually write it down, but I think I deleted it. Sam or someone, would you mind resending the agenda in the chat?
I'm in blue.
Yes. The person whose name is just 2 C's, are you CC the senator?
I'm sorry, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, no, you're good. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay, then we've met quorum. We can start. Or should we wait until 7:05?
We can wait until.
You mean 8:00? Oh, I was like.
We can wait until 7:05 Central Time.
Okay, yeah, 7:05 Central Time. Sorry, I always forget to convert in Eastern Time.
All right, so our meeting is September 8th today. I kind of just want to do roll call because that's going to be a lot easier than reading through everyone else. Do we normally do roll call at our meetings? Man, it's been so long since we have an in-person meeting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, in Zoom, no, but we can do roll call.
I kind of want to do it because I have the attendance list up right now. It's just taking a little bit to load. Alrighty, Sam.
Here.
Mahek.
Here.
Brianna. Here. Addie.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Ananya.
She's here.
Okay, Julia.
Take me a sec to unmute.
Take your time. Julia,
Here.
Cece,
Here.
Manor,
Here.
Kadai. No Kadai. Alrighty, JJ.
Here.
Alright, Nathan, you're here. Talal. I saw
Here.
Talal wave. Meg, I heard you talk earlier. Veda, I saw you earlier. Suba.
Here.
Alright, Grace.
Here.
Angela.
Here.
Alright, I know Anthony's coming late, so I'm going to put a little marker there. Talia, I saw you. Mariano, I saw you. Chinette. Karen, I saw you. Obi.
Here.
All right, Eric. Okay, dang, Arguer's not doing good. Congratulations to the juniors and exec board for having the only full like group there. Exec doesn't really count because there's only 4 of us, but you know what, you
Hey,
juniors,
go juniors.
represent.
I'm sorry, exec does not count when you come to 4. No.
We're trying, okay, we're here. All right, cool. So I believe that we make quorum in that case. We're good to start the meeting.
Awesome. Can I get a motion to start the meeting?
Motion start the
Start the
meeting.
meeting. Second.
I recognize that motion. Okay, we are now in meeting. Okay, so can everyone turn off their cameras unless I call on you for like reports or like you're talking, then you can turn on your camera and your video. Your video and your microphone so we can hear you. We're gonna start with reports from the executive board. So Sam, you can go ahead.
Cool. Thank you everyone for coming to our 4th meeting of the year. And thank you again to everyone who visited us at SIF, who is watching or recording in the future or watching live. Just a few updates. So I had my meeting with Conduct on the 2nd. We discussed the potential for SGA to work with honor board ambassadors to educate students on academic dishonesty, which is moving forward. And we also talked about the possibility for SGA to pre-screen honor board nominees to kind of inject sort of a democratic oversight in the process, which I had a great discussion about with IA, and I will be updating Jen Calhoun and Jess Oros on that soon. I also just learned more in general about the ethics board and kind of the conduct process in general, which is really helpful. In terms of PAC belongings, I forwarded the information to Andy Wilson to send to housing for all of those who fill out the form who consented to have their information sent to housing to help get their belongings collected. I have also officially delegated the task over to Anthony and Grace with student services, which is exciting, and I'm excited to see what they do with this. I'm also happy to announce that we have received information about the application process for the Security Advisory Committee for the 2020 to 2021 academic year. SGA has a reserved spot on this committee, and the application is due on September 22nd. This is a really great opportunity to help represent your constituents and make sure issues around security are something where SGA has a voice. And if you're interested in serving on this committee, please let me know by Friday. On Friday, depending on how much interest we get, Exec and I will let you all know about how the SGA nominee to the Security Advisory Committee will be determined. And a couple of other announcements. I received an invitation to this No Labels conference, which is a conference normally based in DC that is now online, dedicated to bringing together young leaders from across the country to discuss solutions to partisan polarization in the US and various issues affecting the country today. I signed up to go, and they are also looking to have as many of us as SGA members there as possible. So please let me know if you're interested in attending. There will be members of Congress as well as other big name presenters there. So it should be a pretty cool event and a great chance to meet new people. So if you're interested, just like email me, send me a Slack message, send me a messenger pigeon, just let me know. Thank you for the pity laugh. Second, Mehak and I have another meeting of the Student Org Coalition to discuss ways to improve racial equity on campus tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I intend on following up about the Woodrow Wilson renaming process, and we will also be discussing initiatives for supporting our BIPOC peers during and after the election season, improving identity and inclusion workshops, including a 2.0 version for upper class students and or graduate students, working closely with the Black and Latinx student experience work group, particularly to enact student allyship engagement, and first year experience programming / common questions, changes to the academic curriculum, including possibly integration about the history of Hopkins and Baltimore, and specific initiatives aimed at graduate students. If you have any questions about anything you want to bring up, or are interested in attending this coalition meeting or future coalition meetings, please also let us know. And I have also been working on the 2 bylaws amendments that we will be discussing today, and we are working on getting our schedules to Calvin, Carolyn, and Smita to schedule our meetings going forward for the rest of the academic semester.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, next report is going to be from me. So, oh, hold on. Brianna, you're writing in the agenda thing, but could you like copy it and
I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah, I noticed.
the minutes?
I was going to move it once Sam stopped talking. He was just saying a lot of information.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, I don't have a lot to say, so it'll be quick for me. So we just had the fall mini retreat this past weekend, and thanks for everyone who came. It was really fun, informative. I made a presentation on Parley Pro, so if people are like confused on that or still don't know how to like speak in like meetings and stuff, I put it in the general like folder underneath our like SGA folder, and also there's a quick legislation refresh and bills and resolutions like writing template for there. So if you're confused on how to do that, you can go check it out. And yeah, and so me and Sam also have the meeting or the coalition tomorrow. So if you guys want us to bring anything up, you can just message me or Sam in the Slack or private message us, and we can bring it up in the coalition tomorrow. And I'm going to start working on the fall retreat with the freshmen probably like next week or so. So if you thought anything was really helpful in this past mini retreat, or there's anything that you like want to do in the upcoming fall retreat with like the freshmen, then just message me and I'll try to like incorporate it into our agenda for then. And that's all for me. Okay, next is Addie, and that's our treasurer.
Oh, okay, there it goes. Hello. So the SAC apps went out on email, and they're due September 14th. Please submit them to me at aproma3@jhu.edu. I'll put it in here, and then the SGA email. I also am hosting like an informal kind of information session with finance tomorrow from 6:30 to 8 to talk about like what SAC is and kind of what your role would be as a commissioner if you're interested. So I will also drop the Zoom link in here, but it's in the email that we sent out yesterday. So thank you. We've already had some applications. I'm excited. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Addie. Next, we have the executive secretary. So that's Brianna. Brianna, you can go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I'm attempting to catch up on notes right now. So what I've been doing mostly is working with CIF Fair. So I did end up setting up the booth. The video that I made with everybody, I edited together. Thank you guys for sending me your videos. It ended up really cute. I also have a longer version that I might use for something else later on. In addition, if you guys could all please update your web pages in the website so we can like finally publicize the website, since we've been working on it for a while. If you're a committee chair or a class president, it is your responsibility to update your website. Along that same strain, I did post tutorials. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I made and posted tutorials for how to use campus groups. Those I believe are in general underneath, like if you go into our Google Drive, it's in general underneath there. For the student involvement fair, I don't remember the exact numbers, but we did have a lot of people come. We answered a lot of questions. Thank you to people who showed up for their shifts. You all did great. I got a lot of compliments on it from people who said it was really informative. We had 65 people interested, according to Sam, which is like a huge number, seeing as the majority of those are freshmen. In addition, I believe that our group chat for interested freshmen now has, let's see how many members. It now has 80 members, which is pretty impressive. I am hoping that we're going to get a lot of competition and get some new voices in for these upcoming elections. So I've also been updating the website, updating campus groups, and that's really most of what I've been focusing on. In the upcoming weeks, I'm going to try to be getting the CMC more active. Like I said, there is a form for the CMC to for you guys to actually utilize their services. That's in the Google Drive as well. It's under, the actual CMC folder in the Google Drive. That is all the updates from me.
Thanks, Brianna. Okay, we're gonna start to move on to class council reports, so seniors.
Hey guys, so senior class council is just working on reaching out and getting a head start on senior week and programming. yeah, we haven't really done much, but our website is up, so we're super excited about that. Yep.
Thanks, Will. Next we have juniors. So Nathan.
Hi, everyone. Not much to report. Yeah, we're just kind of working on getting some programming ideas all set up for the fall. And juniors, don't forget, we have a meeting after GBM.
Thanks, Nathan. So next we have sophomores. So Anthony, if he's here. He still might be running late. So if anyone else on sophomore class council wants to fill us in, that's fine. If not, we can move on.
We haven't met yet, but we're planning on probably meeting later this week, so there's not really much to report.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, so we're gonna now move on to committee reports. So we're gonna start with academic affairs, and that's Senator Chenda and Senator Zhang.
So academic affairs had a meeting yesterday. So we're now in contact with a couple of support groups, such as FYM, Hopin, FLI, and the academic support programs, and we'll continue to work with them over the semester. We're also working on an outreach project with the Hopkins Ethics Board, which Sam mentioned earlier. This is pretty much going to talk about like the importance of maintaining academic integrity, especially this semester, and then also what students can expect if they have to go before an ethics board hearing. So we think that would be pretty useful for students. We've also been posting on our Instagram. So this week we showcased a syllabus reading workshop for students and also a post about building good study habits. And we're going to continue that into the next week. And we're also trying to bring back end of semester course evaluations. So we'll be presenting our case before the deputy registrar and the curriculum committees in the weeks to come. Finally, we're developing a program for mid-semester feedback in classes because we think that this would bring a lot of new opportunities to improve classes for both students and professors. And we'll be writing a bill about that soon, so stay tuned for that in the next couple weeks. That's all from us.
Thanks, Veda. Okay, I think we're gonna move on to civic engagement. So that's Senator Wang and Senator Lee.
My video.
Oh, Grace, were you speaking?
Yeah. Do you want me to put on video or not? Because it says host has disabled that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That should ask to start video. Does that work now?
Yeah. All right. Hi. Yeah, so Kate here, so we can go talk about it. But our main two projects right now is the video campaigns, which Kate can talk about, and the voter engagement campaign. We are working with the CSC, specifically with WIT there, and Hopkins Votes. We have a joint collaboration with me, William, and Talia, and a couple of other members on the Hopkins Vote side. And we've all been making a campaign and building out incentives. Our main focus right now is to get a social media team in place so that we have a sort of solidified group of people who are working on graphics and working on our social media campaign. And we sent out an email yesterday with Sam's updates, where we asked for a couple of graphic designers. So if you are a graphic designer or you know anyone who'd be interested in working with us, we'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. And beyond that, we are working with some student organizations and writing out an email to incentivize student orgs to get all of their members to sign up, and we'll have some kind of like cash prize or some other incentive, and we'll be having that in the works. And Kata, if you wanted to talk about the video campaign.
Sure thing. So we're working on a video series called Dear First Year Me, and big thank you to everyone who submitted their advice that they would tell their past selves. Big shout out also to Rachel Huang, and Clarissa and Evan and Alex for working on the animations and the video editing. If you know anyone who likes to edit videos or also do graphics or animation, please reach out. And we are also currently working on a video. So for those who don't know, our video series will be called How to Vote on Planet Earth. So we'll be asking people to describe their voting experiences in their country and put it together in a video and ask them why they think voting is important. Not all countries get to vote, so we hope that this will increase voter engagement and it will go together nicely with the voter engagement project.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, we're gonna go on to finance. So Senator He.
Hi everyone. We're just working. The finance committee is just working with Addie to select the SAC committee members, and then tomorrow we're gonna have an info session more about that. That's it from me.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up is health, safety, and sustainability. So Senator Chen and Senator Tai.
Hi, so we're currently coming up with new ideas for the semester because our original ones were kind of dependent on Hopkins being either hybrid or like in person, since we had ideas like masks and collaborating with Hopkins Dining.
Megan, you
I'm sorry, I was muted the whole time. I was speaking the whole time. Okay.
We're good.
You were just muted for a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'll say what I said when I was muted again. So we're currently coming up with new ideas for the semester. Our original ideas were dependent on Hopkins being either hybrid or in person. So this was like sewing masks and collaborating with Hopkins Dining to find research about food waste. So right now we're coming up with new ideas. JJ, do you want to talk about our impact?
Yes. So there will be a bill and a presentation coming up, preferably next week, because I did not have time to finish it. I'm traveling soon, so it's a lot of chaos going on. But anyway, it will be Arts with Impact, and that will be an initiative / activity I think SGA can help fund in the future. Thank you. This hair is what happens when I don't get a haircut in 1.5 years. So it comes naturally. So that's it from HSS.
Thank you guys. Next we have internal affairs. So that's President Cho.
Hey guys, yeah, so Sam actually wrote 2 bylaw amendments regarding co-chairs and chairs and their responsibilities and the removal process. So we will be discussing that tonight. And we also went over the new CSE rules for the freshman class council elections that are coming up, since we are in an unprecedented time with a remote / virtual campaign. So we looked over those and voted to refer them to the Senate for today. So looking forward to that. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Will. Next we have student org. So Senator Kalahasi and Senator Chen.
Hi everyone. So just a handful of small updates from us. Still working on getting through our student org guide, as well as our liaison pairings, which we're still waiting for a couple more confirmations on. We also spoke to Karen last week about including some of the finance info for groups in our emails. So that'll actually be going out later tonight instead of last week when it was supposed to originally, but just pushed it back a little bit. And yeah, Megan.
Yeah, and to continue off of that about the liaison pairing, we're going to confirm approvals this week and then moving on to the next step. So that includes making a doc of the important contacts, such as the chain of command that was requested in a lot of the Google forms when we sent it out. So yeah, look forward to it and hope to see you all soon.
Thanks, Megan and Ananya. Next we have student services. So President Singleton. If he's not here, then does someone from student services want to just fill us in on what's going on? Okay, then we can just skip that for now. And Anthony can give me an update later. Okay, we're gonna move on to caucus reports. So Black Caucus, Senator Widdatullah.
Hey everyone, nothing to report for today.
Awesome. Okay, then we have the Latinx Caucus, Executive Secretary Soldathili.
Alrighty, so like I said last time, I am still looking for a co-chair. So please message me if you want to be a co-chair and you are in SGA. In addition, anybody can join the Latinx Caucus. Whenever I catch up on my Orgo that I've been slacking on for a week, I'm going to start sending out the forms for the Hispanic Latinx Caucus. And I'm going to be sending that out mostly through, I know, I was on vacation last week and it was bad. But anyways, I'll be sending out forms for the application. And that's open to students, that's open to orgs, it's open to org leaders. It's really open to whoever the heck wants to join. You don't have to be Hispanic or Latinx to join if you're just, like interested. Feel free. Yes, I also have a very big pink wall that has flamingos on it. So if anybody has any ideas for how to improve this caucus, because I've never run a caucus before and this isn't something that's existed previously, please let me know. I would really appreciate any input from anyone. And again, if you want to be a co-chair, let me know as well. That's all from me.
Thanks, Brianna. Next, we have the Women and Gender Minorities Caucus headed by Senator Zhang.
Hello. Okay, so we have a bill later in the agenda on the website that I presented last week. So that'll happen. And then I think soon we're going to be clarifying our bylaws with Sam and Mehek, just because they're kind of vague right now. And then also please join this caucus if you want to join. Senators, you can join the channel that we have in our Slack, or you can contact me. And then for general members, you can contact me or contact our social media pages at JGWGMC. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Julia. Okay, so that brings us to our new business. The first thing we have for new business is the CSE Constitution approval. So we have the CSE Chair Ananta to present it. And the first link and the second link, the first one I think is the old CSE bylaws and the second link is the new bylaws. Is that correct, Ananta?
Yeah, actually I think the first link is just the proposed changes to show a side-by-side comparison of the old ones and the new ones. And then the second one is just the new changes.
Okay.
With
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back for a second because I completely skipped over Calvin for advisor reports.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. We're still in the report session. Next we have the advisor report.
Carolyn, you up here? Where's Carolyn? All right, happy Blue Jay Tuesday. Oh wait, there she is. Happy Blue Jay Tuesday. Carolyn is going to start, and I'll just fill in where necessary.
Hey y'all. So I have a few updates. The first one, so Hopkins is a part of a sort of coalition called Baltimore College Town. Those are the folks who help with providing shuttles, and they do a lot of other things in conjunction with Baltimore area higher education institutions. One thing that they're putting together is a meeting for student governance organizations to check in with each other, to talk about what's happening right now, and to hopefully plan or share ideas with other SGA leaders in the area about what their campuses are doing, offering support and things like that. I have a calendar invite to send to anyone who's interested in attending. It's on Friday, September 25th. From 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a really great opportunity to network with other SGA leaders in the area. Earlier in the spring semester, they hosted an SGA summit. Some of you may have gone to that. So this is an opportunity, I think, to connect with other folks. Additionally, I want to say congrats on a successful virtual student involvement fair, not only for Student Government Association, but for the campus at large. So we had well over 1,000 individual users log in and engage during the first virtual student involvement fair. So it's really exciting. Thanks for participating and doing all those pieces. It was exciting to see those numbers go up. And I hope you all got a lot of interest to help folks engage in the student governance process at Hopkins. Calvin has one thing to talk about. I might be able to talk about the Hopapalooza. So we are working to create hopefully a really fun and engaging day's worth of events and engagement opportunities for students to happen next Thursday. It'll be a 12-hour period. So from 12 noon to 12 midnight, is that right?
Yep.
Noon to midnight. We're gonna just have a whole bunch of activities. So, the Palooza idea is that there's just a bunch of activities and things to do. There's staff that are working on developing some of the pieces for that, but want to make sure that you all are aware of it, because once we get our visuals together, we'll be sure to share with you to help us promote to the larger campus community about the event.
All
Calvin,
right.
you got it.
Yeah, and I think I only have two quick things. Family Weekend, be looking out for some information on Family Weekend, which will be, I believe, the last weekend in October, but I'll give you a definite date when that comes. But I believe it's the last, the last weekend in September, not the last weekend in October. And then second, I'm going to share with you all, if you have not seen the guidelines and reshare them, we did have some issues this weekend that cropped up. And so I think it's important that, you know, for you all as a body, we're just going to share that. And if you find it, you know, important enough, please share that with your constituencies, as we want to make sure that people are being safe, and following social distancing and public health guidelines. So I'll share the information with you so you all have it readily, and then you can share that with your constituents. And happy Blue Jay Tuesday.
Thank you guys. Okay, so I guess now we're gonna move on to new business. So, and then you're back up. So yeah, you can tell us which link is which and talk about the new constitution that you guys are passing.
Yeah, thanks. Meg, would you be able to pull up I think the first link, share your screen for that one?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
All right, there you go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this first document, I thought it would just be an easier way to preview our old constitution and the new changes that we want to make for the revised one that hopefully will get approved today. And then the second link is on the agenda is just our new constitution with all like the proposed changes that we're making. So the first thing that we wanted to change was completely removing the article about petitioning. So that entire section would be omitted, and everything along with that is just an unnecessary variant and becomes difficult for candidates, especially with us being on an electronic platform. And then Matt, could you go a little bit down, please? Cool. So then for the next 3.3, typically we require candidates, as I'm sure you guys remember, to fill out a couple forms when they come to the info sessions. So because we proposed on removing petitions altogether for this semester, we would not let the petition as one of your forms. So we removed that from the section and just kept the requirement of candidate agreement forms as well as the GPA verification form. And then next, just section that relates to petitions against 7.4.4. If we get rid of petitions, then we no longer need this to be in our constitution. And then going down to the next article, which in our old constitution was 7.5.2. So I know in the past there's been a lot of confusion about social media and what we can use. So hopefully this clarifies a little bit. So we're saying that in the past, you know, we've not allowed Snapchat or Slack, but we're kind of categorizing everything together to say that all social media is allowed. However, anything that you guys will be posting in private groups or platforms, again, such as Slack or Snapchat, will have to be approved by CSE. So it's the same format that you guys have done in the past, where you just send us whatever, like a screenshot of what you might post on your story, something like that, and we just give it a go and you can put that on. And then we're keeping it that, again, dating or dating apps, posting there and campaigning there is just not allowed. And then finally, the last article in the old one was 7.7. So this was just something that we had to amend because we removed the petitioning. So not much has changed, but we just wanted to clarify again that stickers, buttons, and pins will be allowed once we go back to in-person campaigning in the future. So I think that is everything.
Do you want me to go to the second link or is this good?
This is good. Yeah, the second link is just the same thing. But if people want to see the full constitution, it's available to them.
Okay. So do I have a motion for debate or Q&A or to move straight into voting procedure? You guys can do that now.
I have a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
A motion to move into a 6-minute Q&A with 45-second speaking times.
Okay, can I get a second for that?
Seconded.
All right, so we are now in a 6-minute Q&A with 45-second speaking times. Unless anyone has any opposition, go and hit the no button on your participants tab. Otherwise, I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Is that okay? Okay, we are now in a 6-minute moderator caucus with 45-second speaking times. Will, you can go first. If anyone else wants to add, you can raise your hand in the participants tab. And if you're a co-host, then you can't raise your hand. So you can just privately message me and I'll add you to the speakers list. So we're gonna go Will and then Talal. So you can go ahead, Will.
I'll yield all my time to Talal. I already know this since we passed this in committee.
Okay, Talal, you can go ahead.
I thought this was a Q&A, but is it cool if I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I probably should have brought this up in the internal affairs meeting, but I kind of just thought about it. So with the petitioning, what would happen if there was a student who like was disabled, like either permanently or just like temporarily had like an injury? Because I know from like petitioning myself, you have to really like go around and sort of get people to sign. So yeah, just like an accessibility question.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Talal? It cut out towards like the middle of that and I didn't catch the beginning of your question.
Oh yeah, so the gist was if there was a student who was permanently or like temporarily disabled in terms of like just walking around, what would happen with them in the whole like petition process? Like could they get like a waiver or something?
Yeah, so actually something that CSC kind of wanted to do long term, and again, we'll bring this up if we do go back to in-person campaigning in the spring semester, is that we actually want to remove petitions altogether. I know this is, that's a great point that you brought up, that it is not, you know, it becomes a barrier again, sometimes physically, as well as people who have a lot of things going on if they're, say, working multiple jobs and stuff like that. So I think for petitioning altogether, if we are able to approve that in the future, you know, we're going to completely remove it as a requirement, then I think that should no longer be a concern. But if that motion does not go forward, then I think that's something that we can definitely come back to. And I think, yeah, a waiver, something like that would be all right for us. I don't think we have a problem with that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Great. That sounds good.
Okay, next up we have Brianna. Brianna, you can go ahead.
Hey, so I know that this isn't something that we're talking about right now, but what you're talking about removing petitioning entirely, personally, like petitioning was a pain because when you run for freshmen, you need 200 signatures, and when you run for exec, you need 300, which like that was a lot to do. But I do think that petitioning adds an important part of actually getting exposure to people. That way you can't just like run and be like, I'm just bored, so I'm going to run for SGA. You have to like dedicate the time to do it and get your name out there, so people aren't just voting for faces they recognize, they're voting for people that they have talked to. So whenever you guys get into the discussion about possibly removing petitioning, I wonder if there's like an alternative you can come up with, or if there's any other ideas, or if that's something that other members of SGA can possibly participate in, or just like other people in general, just in that discussion in the future, vaguely.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, that came up in our thought process too, whether deciding whether we should keep it or not. And to play devil's advocate on the other end of this is that if we were just talking about our own experiences with people asking for petitions and stuff like that, and sometimes people will just come up and ask for the signature and still not campaign. So our thing is that if people are serious enough about wanting to run, they will still go up, they still have to campaign and talk to people. And just, you know, there's that, you have to do it either way, whether or not petitions are there. So again, it's just to summarize, if candidates are serious enough about wanting to run, they will put in the effort. We believe that they should put in the effort to still go up and talk one-on-one with people to explain their platform. So.
Okay, I am next up, and then Jay, you can go after me. So I want to commend CSE for writing this because I know you guys have like a kind of strict timeline for getting this passed and moving on to freshman elections. So thank you for doing this in a timely manner. And I hope it gets passed today so it doesn't mess up your timeline for electing the freshmen by next month. And also, even though there are a lot of concerns about petitioning, I just want to keep in mind that we don't know for sure whether or not we're going to go back to in person next semester. So taking petitioning out, I feel like is really good for this year at least, because I feel like getting online petitions or online signs or like forms like that, it's really hard. And coming up with an alternative for that is just like getting the PDF type of signature. So you don't know whether or not someone like really signed that either because they just typed their name into the document. So I think that for now, this is a good alternative to how we should probably run our elections. But probably if people have like a big issue with petitions or something like that and have more opinions on it, I think it would be great to bring this up next year when elections are going to happen again for the freshmen, because we still don't know our future for next semester. And if there's an issue for that, then we can bring that up next semester as well, if you want CSE to do something about that or appeal to the judiciary next semester. Okay, next we have JJ.
Okay, hello. This is not really a question, but I just want to add that I decided to run for SGA in like when everything turned online and the petition process was waived. That was an opportunity for me because as a transfer student, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know many people or most of the people here at Hopkins, and it kind of just took this barrier away from me, and I am really grateful for this opportunity. And I think the petition in place would exclude a lot of people like me who are willing to work hard, but are just not familiar with the people or are uncomfortable coming up to people and like ask for their signature in time. So that's all from me.
Thank you, JJ. Okay, so the moderate caucus is about to expire. So Kate, go ahead, but keep it under like 30 seconds.
Okay, sure. I'm also a transfer student, just came in when JJ did, and I have the same comment. I also think that there are some people whose personalities aren't always, like they're more, the way they're connected to people is different, and they're like, but they really care about people and don't necessarily, like can't necessarily like know all those people. Also, when people get signatures, they do it in places at like frat parties or something, and like people aren't even coherent. Like realistically, no, like from what I saw, nobody really goes up to you and actually talks to you about your platform. They kind of just say, here, sign this, and then they move on. So it kind of just becomes a numbers game, and that concerns me because it brings in people who are just there just for show, or they're very good at talking to people. So I think it's a great, like it's a good, like I think it comes from a good place. But I think Mehek had a good suggestion by saying that maybe we can see how this year goes. Of course, not all the factors will, like you might not see all the correlations in exact factors, but seeing how this year goes, comparing it to last year and then going from there might be good. But JJ's point stands true for people like me and actually a lot of transfer students who came in just last year on this committee.
Thank you. Okay, so now does anyone want a motion for anything?
Motion to vote.
All right, can I get a second for that?
Seconded.
Second.
All right, all in favor of moving into voting procedure, please go hit the yes in the participants tab. But this is just moving into voting procedure. It's not actually voting on the approval of the CSE bylaws. Also, exec can't vote, so. Okay. Looks like we are at 18, so that's more than half. So we're gonna move into voting. So now if you're in favor of passing the CSE bylaws, please go hit the participants tab check mark. If you're against it, hit the no. If you're abstaining for any reason, you can just go and hit like one of the blue button things or hit like the time away more button thing. Yeah, and then we'll go through and see if it passes or not.
Kidai, can you vote? Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Cece. I'm just scrolling through everybody's name. All right, it looks like everybody's voted and it looks like it passes unanimously.
Oh, awesome. Okay, congrats, Ananta. So it looks like it passes unanimously. So we're gonna move on to the next thing on the agenda, which is the committee chair removal bylaws amendment by Executive President Mullen. So Sam, you're gonna have 5 minutes to introduce this, and then we can have a debate, discussion, Q&A, or just move into voting. So you can go ahead and I'll pull it up on my screen.
Cool. Yeah, so as Mehak mentioned, so this bylaws amendment is meant to clarify the process for removing committee chairs if the committees themselves elect to remove the committee chairs. So to give you all some background, the way it works is that committee chairs can be removed by a 2/3 vote of the Senate or a 3/4 vote of the committee. But the way it's outlined in the bylaws currently is that it says that in both cases, they should follow a process identical to those for impeachment of a member. And the issue with that essentially is that you can't really follow an identical process if you're just doing a committee chair removal done by the committees themselves, because that would actually require bringing things to the Senate, because in the impeachment procedure for a general member, you have to bring signatures to exec during an actual Senate GBM meeting from members in the entire Senate. You have to have kind of like a vote in the Senate. It just doesn't make sense. So in order to clarify that process and sort of fix like a loophole in our bylaws and make things more workable, I essentially kind of just outlined a mechanism for committees to be able to remove their own chairs, like the bylaw gives them the ability to, without going to the overall Senate at all, which they should be able to do because committees should have power over their own chairs. So what happens, Mehak, can you scroll down a little bit? Could you scroll up to like number 1, kind of in the middle? Yeah, so essentially, hopefully you all read this in advance, so you kind of know the gist. But it outlines a process that is pretty much identical to impeachment, but it just happens completely in the committee, and it's administered by the executive vice president. And the reason it's administered by the executive vice president and not the chair of the committee themselves is that I figured, and we in IA figured that it was really important to make sure that there was kind of like a neutral arbiter overseeing the process. So generally in a normal impeachment hearing, that would be the internal affairs chair, and then like members who have conflicts of interest would recuse themselves from the proceedings. But because committee chair removals done by the committee have to be within the committee, we edited it so that, or basically I created a process where it could happen within the committee itself. Can you scroll down a little bit? And then kind of at the end here, I also sort of outlined what happens if, there's 2 co-chairs and one of the co-chairs gets removed, like sort of a process for determining whether to keep the single chair or elect another co-chair and things like that. So we in IA really tried our hardest to make sure that, we kind of eliminated any loopholes, that we made sure that everything's worked. So I'm excited to answer your questions and hear your thoughts and hopefully get this passed.
Okay, do I have any motions for anything?
Motion for a 5-minute moderated caucus with 30-second speaking times.
Awesome, can I get a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor for a moderated caucus, I'm gonna take your silence as a yes. If you're against it, then just hit the no button on the participants tab so we can like mark it down. Okay, we are now in a 5-minute moderated caucus with 30-second speaking times, and Will, you can go ahead since you're the one who motioned it.
Yeah, I just want to say that Internal Affairs really did take a long look at this. I read through this thoroughly. Me and Sam and the rest of the committee also did some slight changes, and we really tried to keep in mind like all of like the thresholds for like getting it started and then like removing a chair. Like we all kept that in mind, given that like some committees can be really small, like 4 or less. So, and we've tried, and Sam did a really good job, in my opinion, just trying to like get through all of like the edge cases. Sorry for the CS majors for having to hear that word, but yeah, I also support this bill, and I think it's pretty great and addresses what needs to be fixed. So that's it for me.
Okay, does anyone else want to be added to the speakers list? Brianna, you can go ahead.
I also support this bill. I know Sam and Internal Affairs have been working pretty hard on it, and I did look it over briefly. But I think it's really good that we're looking back in our bylaws and correcting things that have possible issues, even if they're not issues right now. I think it shows a lot of initiative to look back and notice places where we've messed up and, you know, put in the effort to actually fix that kind of thing. So thank you, Sam and Internal Affairs, for doing this.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, Julia, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know if I saw this in the bill, but if it's an odd number of people, are you going to go just for submitting the signatures? Are you going to go like one over or round down? I don't know who I'm asking this to. Maybe Sam. Yeah.
I think Sam. Yeah.
So it appears we weren't infallible. That's a good question. We can put an amendment in just to add another line to specify that. I'd be happy with having it round up. So if someone wants to, you know, introduce a motion to amend after this moderated caucus ends, I could rule it a friendly amendment and we could get it in.
Motion to friendly amendment.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Also, for friendly amendments, you don't really need to vote, so you can just say what you want the friendly amendment to be, and if Sam wants to include it, you can just add it himself.
So I guess the friendly amendment would be with the edge case per se that Julia brought up, with like the odd number and rounding up.
That's friendly.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to be added to the speakers list, or does anyone want a motion to end the moderated caucus?
Motion to end the moderated caucus.
Could I get a second? Okay. All in favor of ending the moderated caucus, you can hit the yes button in the participants tab. If you're against it, then hit the no button, and we can just take that into account. Okay. So the moderated caucus is now ended. Would anyone like to motion to move into voting procedure or anything else?
Motion to move into voting procedure.
Seconded.
Second.
Okay, we are now in voting procedure, or could we need a vote first on moving into voting procedure. So can everyone go to the participants tab and hit the yes or the no button? And this time you actually have to hit it so we can count.
Talal, please vote. Alrighty, it looks like everybody else has voted.
Awesome. Okay, so now we are moving in. Now we are in voting procedure. So everyone who wants the passage of the bylaws amendment part 1 for the committee chair removal, go and hit the yes button on your participants tab. If you're against it, hit the no. If you are abstaining, then go and hit the away button in the more area. And yeah.
All right, 17 people clicked yes. I'm going to assume it's the same 17 as before. It
Awesome.
looks like it.
Yeah, it does. Okay, looks like this bill has passed. Congrats, Sam. All right, so next thing we're going to move on to is the co-chair's cooperation bylaws amendment by Executive President Mullen. Sam, you're going to have 5 minutes to introduce your bill, and then we can move on from there. So I'm going to pull it up on my laptop. All right.
Hello again.
There you go.
Hold on. I'm looking at this. This text does not seem correct.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Like, this seems like it's the text for the committee chair removal, I think.
No, this is the committee co-chair cooperations amendment. It's the one where you talked about them submitting a plan. Oh wait, no, this is the removal one. Yeah. I think the language. I don't know.
Okay. Something clearly went wrong. So let's do the WGMC bill and I'll fix this.
Okay. We're gonna move on to the WGMC bill. So Senator.
Wait. You gotta table this bill.
Oh, right. Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion to table.
Motion to table. Can I get a second for that?
Seconded.
All right. All in favor of tabling this bill, go and hit the yes button on the participants tab. If you're against that, hit the no button. If you want to abstain, then go hit the away button on more.
Can we have clarification on what tabling the bill actually does?
Okay, so tabling the bill means when a bill has been introduced and the bill might have been miswritten or it might like fail or something like that, and the author wants to save it from that, or anyone else in SJ wants to like just move it on to a later time to discuss, you can table the bill. So you can table the bill like and give it a certain time when you're going to come back to it, or you can just table the bill and it's kind of like left up in the air when you can resume it. So if we just table it now, like we just did, because there's more than 18 people saying yes, so the bill has been tabled, Sam can just bring it up later on in this meeting, or he can bring it up next meeting whenever he wants to.
You would have to bring it up in the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, so then he can just bring it up at the next meeting. So yeah, we're gonna just do that. All right, so we're gonna move on to the publishing WGMC resources website bill. So Senator Zhang, you have the floor. I'll go and pull up your bill on my screen and I'm gonna share it. So you just tell me when you want me to scroll.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, most of this information is largely the same as the presentation that I gave last week. So I just wrote that down. The biggest change that we made, Ellie and I, is to how we're going to be moderating the submission of, I guess, like stories and advice. We're not sure whether campus groups will allow this function, so we'll have to explore it. But basically, we would like to receive submissions and then add any like trigger warnings that might be needed, or reformat, or like basically not allow things that are spam and hate, and then do the same for comments as well. If we're not able to do that for comments, then hopefully, well, then we just not allow comments, which is unfortunate, but yeah, better safe than sorry. Can you scroll, Mahek? And then what we would like SGA to do is just publish the website, allow us to move the website to the SGA page, and then also help us publicize the website and the services that it offers. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Does anyone want a motion for a Q&A or a moderated caucus, or to move into voting procedure?
Motion for a 5-minute moderated caucus with 30-second speaking times.
Could I get a second? All right. If you're against moving into that, then hit the no button on the participants tab. If you're for it, then just hit the yes button. Otherwise, we're going to move into just a 5-minute moderated caucus with 30-second speaking time. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Nathan, since you're the one who motioned it, you can go ahead. And if you want to be added to the speakers list, just put your hand up.
Yeah, this is actually more of a question, so I should probably ask for a Q&A, but well. With the, I guess I'm interested in hearing more about how this is going to be moderated, and also what, if anything, is going to be run by administration. I want to be sure that there's both no legal issues and just that we're being sure that it's going to be a safe space for everyone. I'll yield to Julia.
Thanks. Yeah, in general, we would like for the WGMC to moderate it
Right now, I think we're planning on the chair of the Committee on Sexual Violence and Committee on Sexual Violence to, I guess, run that. In terms of legal things, I feel like if it's things like personal stories and personal testimonies, I feel like that we would just allow. But if it implies or I think if it's information about like a Department of Hopkins, I feel like that might need something. Calvin, I see. I'll yield my time to Calvin. This is kind of a Q&A, but I guess I'll yield my time.
Oh man, your time expired, Julia, but Calvin, I'll just put you next on the speakers list so you can go ahead.
Yes. So if you're putting personal student information that would need to go through legal, they would need to get permission. So I do think that we're probably going to have to explore exactly how you want to moderate some of those things. There are some restrictions and some other things that we can do with Hopkins groups. There is some report of negative comment. Like there are some things that we can do. But I do think when we enter into the space of personal testimony or personally identifiable information about a student, that will have to go through general counsel. You will not be able to post that without it.
Okay, Julia, I see your hand is up, so you can go ahead.
This might be important because we decided to allow anonymous submissions. So in that case, there might not be identifiable information. So in that case, I guess this is a question to Calvin again, but would that still have to go through?
Well, again, and that depends on what they say in their anonymous submission. If they submit something that gives personally identifiable information that a random student can figure out who it is, then yes, that would be a problem. And depending on what someone describes, the general student might know who that is, even if they don't give their name. That's still a violation of privacy. So we would have to get permission for that.
Okay, Brianna, you can go ahead. You're up next in the speakers list.
Mine's kind of a little bit of a takeaway from the area that we were in. So on the website that is currently being made through campus groups for general SGA, we have a blog section that I managed to create. So I was wondering if maybe that was something you were willing to do. In addition, I did put in a section for the Women and Gender Minorities Caucus. You guys can move the webpage to there, or if you want, you guys have a spot on the SGA webpage underneath, I believe, other SGA and then caucuses, and then under there. So you can link to your own website there, or you can totally publicize on there however you want. And when I was messing around with campus groups, I did see that there were ways to shut off commenting and then report and then filter. There's also things where if people post or they try to post, they send it to you first and you get to verify what's in there and see if it's spam or not. There's another thing where if they sent it to you, they sent identifying information to you so you could verify it wasn't a troll, or to a secure source where they wouldn't be outed or anything like that. And then you would remove all the identifying information. I'm also very concerned about the trolls as well, because for those of you who were there for Sex Week, anything online that's anonymous can go very badly sometimes. So I hope that's not something that occurs. I don't know how we can prevent this, but I do think this is a really, really good idea. And if we can find a way to make it work, I am 100% down to help if you need anything, if you want help publicizing on the website. You can also use the CMC. We have a website designer on the CMC. So just let me know if you want to work together on that.
And heck, I'm just going to jump in for 2 seconds or a minute, half a minute. I think the other thing that some people are identifying is that people may want to submit information about others anonymously. The one thing, and I know this summer that happened quite a bit on Twitter, where people were submitting individuals' names, even my name. And on this platform, which is an official university platform, that would be very problematic. So I think we want to make sure that however you all are trying to frame this information, you can make a news post, you can make a blog feed, you can have it vetted. I don't think it's a situation where you can't do what you want to do in spirit. It just may take a different format to make sure that we are not exposing anyone unintentionally. So that's really my feedback.
Thank you, Calvin. Okay, so we're gonna have Talia and then Kate go, and then the moderate caucus is gonna expire. So Talia, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I just have a couple of questions. So first of all, will anonymous stories be like filtered or like monitored? Like will there be a group like overseeing that and then like deciding to share those stories, or is it just like people can post what they would like to?
Oh, would you like me to answer that question?
Yes, Talia, you would just say I yield the rest of my time to Julia to answer the question. If you
Okay, I yield the rest of my time to Julia.
Yeah, definitely. Well, original plan was because we wanted it to be like a community sort of based thing, that the WGMC would moderate it. But now that Calvin's brought up like excellent points and everyone else has brought up excellent points as well, I guess probably for the safety of people who want to submit to us, we would probably run it past general counsel first.
Awesome. Okay. Next up is Kate.
I also had a question. Is there a way to like let people like submit their names so you can verify who they are, but then like anonymously post their story? And I'd like to yield my time to Julia, but I'd like to respond after once I have more information, if that's okay.
Once you yield your time, I don't think you can really reclaim it.
Okay, I don't yield my time yet. I'd like to make another comment. I think my concern with like being so restrictive about people's names is that, or like what people can share, is that the stories will become bland and impersonal, and then it'll lose its purpose. Even with like news and journalism, surely there are certain rules, but the way people are, they will still find ways to be like a person that isn't great. But those stories can be filtered out with good judgment, I think. So if a story comes up that's not pleasing, I think that can be taken care of. And I think, I think also just saying that, oh, someone can identify that person, I think that's a not rigorous way of, that's a not rigorous way of filtering people out, because at the end of the day, who is that person and why do they have a right to judge it? And after that, it ends up like not in a non-spoken way, it becomes defaulted to the person who originally said, oh, it like people can just figure it out, and that person becomes people. So I think that's not a good rigorous standard to set in terms of banning anonymous posts. I think a better standard needs to be set as well. So again, back to my question to Julia. Do you need me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
So my question was, is there a way for people to send in their name but then post anonymously? So on like a Google form, you can ask them, hey, do you want your name to be on there or not?
Yeah, definitely. We encourage people to like list any, I guess, conditions that they might want us to take in consideration. So yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you, Julia. So now that the moderate caucus has expired, does anyone want to make another motion? Oh, sorry. Calvin wants to say something. So Calvin, you can go ahead.
Oh no, they can go ahead if they want to keep talking.
Oh, okay. Does anyone want to make any motions to, you could table the bill if you feel like it needs more work. You could have another moderate caucus if you feel like there needs to be more discussion. If people have more questions, you can have a Q&A, or you can move into voting procedure if you feel like you want to vote on the bill. Talal, I see your hands up. So do you have a motion?
Yeah, motion to table the bill.
All right. Do I have a second for that, or any other motions?
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor of tabling the bill, can you go to the participants tab and hit the check mark button? And if you're against tabling the bill, hit the no button. If you're abstaining, you can just go and hit the away button in the more section.
I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds to check. I'm looking for 18 to 19 votes if some people who messaged me are able to vote. Trinette, if you find the vote button, let me know. Otherwise, just private message me your vote. All right, we're still missing some people. I keep thinking all the non-SG people are SG people. I'm like, Mark, you have to vote, but Mark, please don't vote. All right, thank you, Opie. All right, it looks like we have everyone except for Chinette. Chinette, if you are unable to vote, just private message me your vote. It's fine, but either way, it would pass by a majority, so.
Okay, so we have now tabled the bill. So Julia, basically that means that you can bring up your bill next week if you want, but I would really like work on it or take like the criticism and debate from today to like improve your bill so it would pass next week. And with that, that brings us to the end of new business. So now
I motion we take from the table Sam's bill. That's in Robert's rules.
Sorry?
Can we do that?
Yeah, it's in Robert's rules. I checked.
That you can bring it up in the same meeting?
Yeah. It just needs a second and then majority vote.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor of bringing that up? Also, if Sam, you don't want to bring it up and bring it up next week, you can also let us know that so people can take that into account while they're voting.
Sam and I talked, but
I'm good to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, then if you want to bring it back up at this meeting, then go and hit the yes button on the participants tab. We need a majority, so please make sure to vote.
Looking for, oh, that's everybody.
Okay.
Unanimous.
All right, so since we are bringing it back up in this meeting, Sam, you have 5 minutes again to reintroduce your bill. And if you could drop the link to the new, well, is it still the same link as it was on the agenda before?
Yeah, it's the same link.
Okay, I'll go click on that and then pull it up on my screen. All right. There you go. And let me know where you want me to keep going down. There you go. Sam, you're muted right now. You've been muted the whole time.
All right, I'm unmuted. There's perfect. First of all, sorry about the technical difficulties. Google Docs are fun. Second of all, to tell you all a little bit about these bylaw amendments. So essentially, the reason that I created this amendment is that I noticed that there were issues or potential issues, not really issues right now, but just potential issues in the future where we might have a scenario where co-chairs get elected that weren't necessarily planning on working with each other and might have issues working with each other. And kind of one of the priorities of the exec board is to make sure that SGA has the best structures and bylaws possible to function both now and in the foreseeable future, because these bylaws changes will be around for a long time. So essentially what we have here, and again, I hope all of you read this in advance, although I recognize that might have been a difficulty given the technical difficulties. So if you all decide to table this, that would be a valid reason to do so. But to tell you all about it, here's how it works. So first of all, if we have this only applies to co-chairs. And if we have two co-chairs that decide that they work great together and they don't need any oversight from the executive board, then they have the option to waive this requirement. This is completely optional. We don't want to get in the way of any co-chairs if there's no need to do so. What this is a plan to help co-chairs who might need some support from the executive board to work together. So as you can see, essentially by the end of September, and that'll happen every year, co-chairs must submit a cooperation plan to the executive vice president detailing an agreement between the co-chairs on how they plan to work cooperatively to run their committee. Plans must include these kind of details at a minimum, because these are sort of the core of working together at chairs, like how you communicate, how you work together, how you resolve conflicts, and just kind of like how you have provisions for each other when one of you are struggling with mental health or academic stress related reasons. Could you scroll down a little bit to the B, the small b, a little higher? So as you can see, this can be waived as long as both co-chairs consent to waive. The executive vice president may reject any cooperation plan that they find to not be sufficient, although committees have the ability to overturn that rejection if they see fit. For cooperation plans concerning the Internal Affairs Committee, where the executive vice president serves as a co-chair, the executive president will take the role of the executive vice president to be able to administer that if needed. Cooperation plans must be shared with Senate committee members for transparency. They may not be changed without the approval of the executive vice president. Failure to follow these rules is a violation of the bylaws, and it may lead to the consequences associated with such. This is important because this bylaws change is really meant to be a means of accountability, to make sure that co-chairs, essentially if they're having issues, like they have to play nice with each other. Really, like an underlying motivation here is that at the end of the day, right now, if two committee co-chairs aren't working well, really the only option we have is to just, kind of talk it out and hope that works well. But we think it's really, or I at least think it's really important that we have a legal mechanism to make sure that SGA is doing the work that it needs to do to make sure our constituents' needs are being met and that they aren't being squandered by infighting among committee chairs. And again, this isn't targeted at anyone. This isn't an issue that I think we're having now, but I think this is really important because it will come up in the future eventually over our years of existence as an SGA, and I want to make sure we're prepared. So can you scroll down a little bit? The rest of it is kind of just implementation details. Section I, if you could actually scroll up a little bit. So this is an important one because it's how co-chairs can resolve conflicts around actually making the conflict resolution or rather cooperation plan. Essentially, we have rules here on how that conflict could be managed. Hopefully we would never reach this stage because, it'd be pretty bad if the co-chairs couldn't work together to the extent that they couldn't even put a plan together. But we want to be prepared for all contingencies. So this is really just a way to make sure that if all else fails, we have some system of accountability to make sure that every senator that signs up for the responsibility of a committee co-chair is doing their job. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
All right, thank you, Sam. Does anyone have any motions to bring to the floor now? For clarification, you can motion for a Q&A, a moderated caucus, to move into voting procedure, to table the bill, or do a point of information or something like that.
Motion to move into voting.
Can I get a second for that?
Seconded.
All right. We are going, so can everyone go and vote in the participants tab, and you actually have to vote for this. And if you're going against moving into voting procedure, go ahead no. If you're going to abstain, then go hit the away button.
Reminder, if you abstain, if you're comfortable private messaging me a reason as to why you're abstaining, that would be great. You should only abstain in absolute circumstances so we can make sure we get the full breadth of the SGA's representation. Good reasons to abstain include conflict of interest or just generally being uncomfortable, along with other ones that are listed in the whole Parley Pro whatever doc. So I am reading, and it looks like we have 17. Oh, Menorah accidentally left. All right, Janet says yes. JJ, if you can private message Sam with that question, that would be wonderful.
Okay, so
otherwise it looks like it passes.
Okay, we are now in voting. So
we are now moving into voting procedure.
No, yeah, we're moving into voting procedure. So now that we are in voting, if you want the bill to pass, then go and hit the yes checkmark button. If you're against that, go hit the no X button. If you're going to abstain, then go and hit the away button.
All right, I'm just missing one person. Oh, there they are. It looks like we have everyone.
Awesome. Okay, so it looks like it passes unanimously. Little gavel moment. Congrats, Sam. All right, so with that, we are now concluded with new business. We're going to move into prospective business now, which includes advancing legislation and announcements. So if anyone wants to announce anything or talk about any bills they're going to bring next week, you can do that. So just raise your hand and I'll add you to the speakers list. Brianna, you can go ahead.
Hi, this is an announcement that has nothing to do with prospective business. Actually, I have two announcements. One, if you are a new member to SGA and you're like, dang, I don't know what the heck I'm doing for writing a bill, or like, I want to write a bill, but I don't know where to start. I am unofficially offering my help because I don't know if like we're going to do an official workshop or anything. If you want help, message me. I didn't know what I was doing when I wrote my first bill, so I ended up using the replace button a significant amount of time. If you need help with the website, I know a couple people have been having issues with setting up the campus groups website. Again, the tutorials are there, or message me. I'm 100% willing to help out. And then the totally unrelated announcement is there's like a dance, I don't even know, it's like a performance. Okay, for those of you who went to like Osho, for the freshmen who are in here, there's like a dance kind of version of that. And my group is performing. I'm part of the Hopkins Fire Spinners. And we made, if any of you watch Avatar, we made a video with all of us fire spinning to the Avatar Agni Kai like theme song. It's really, really cool. I highly recommend everyone checks it out. And then lastly, speaking of videos you should check out, Mehek, Sam and I made a very, very thorough, in-depth, very professional video on Parley Pro. It definitely has nothing to do with Sam and the moon at all. I highly recommend that you guys check it out. It gives a really good introduction to Parley Pro, even if it is a touch silly. And that ends the announcements from my side.
Awesome. Thanks, Brianna. Does anyone else have any other announcements? I'll give you guys like 30 seconds. If not, then we can move into public input period. Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick. There's going to be a resolution probably next week about first year seminars and Baltimore education and as some portion of them. So if you're interested in hearing about that or working with me on that, please hit me up. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. Sam, you can go ahead too.
Just real quick reminder, if you are interested in the Security Advisory Committee, which you should be, please reach out to me by Friday. Do not forget to reach out to me by Friday. I will be sending reminders. Please let me know if you're interested in applying because it's important that we have someone on it.
Awesome. So make sure you send in those to Sam before this Friday, I think. And then yeah, you're up next.
There also might be a bill next week about an SGA-sponsored pen pal program that Addie and I have been discussing. If anyone is interested in helping with that, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. That sounds really cool, actually. Anyone else have anything else to add?
I just really quickly, I want to go back to what Carolyn said in the beginning because Carolyn had the application for the College Town Summit. The summit was really cool. They had really good food last time, but obviously you can't get food, but it was also really nice meeting other SGAs. I thought it was going to be really boring. It wasn't. A lot of other SGAs run a lot differently, and we got a lot of really, really good ideas there. That's where I got the idea to work on getting the positions in SGA paid, and I've been working with them. Like I literally am still in contact with the people I met there, so I highly recommend you all show up as well. Carolyn has the invite for that.
Thanks, Brianna. Okay. I think we're going to move into public input period then. So if you're from the public and you have anything to say, you can raise your hand now. I can add you to the speakers list. And we're going to do like 45 seconds per person. Okay. Ellie Kim, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm the WGMC Gender and Sexual Violence Committee Chair. I just wanted to touch on a few things that came up during this meeting. If the school requires, we can put a disclaimer as well as, or a disclaimer or comment that says that identifiable information that is put in a post will not be accepted if that is what the school requires. Also, another good point that was brought up was the Twitter controversy. And although we are not going to take upon that strategy, I think it is really important that we let survivors and victims come from a place of honesty because it's already very difficult for students to share what they have gone through. And just stepping up to talk about their experiences takes a lot of bravery. And furthermore, just sharing empathy and pain was and is a key component of the #MeToo movement, and it helps in people's recovery. And I just hope that the council can keep this in mind.
Thank you, Ellie. Okay, we're gonna move on to Lucas from MLC.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucas. I'm the Director of Advocacy for MLC, and we have recently been in talks with Hopkins Feminists about kind of proposing some reforms to IFC and PAGH organizations on campus. I'm not sure who would be interested, but we definitely want SGA support on this. So I guess if you're interested, reach out to me, please.
Lucas, you can send me an email and I can forward it to the committee head that it'll probably fall under, and then I can get them to contact you if you want.
Yeah, if you want to send to the main SGA exec email your contact information, that way we can distribute it and you can make sure you actually stay in touch with us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. That looks like no one else is gonna speak. So could I get a motion to close the meeting or adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, awesome. We are now adjourned. So if anyone wants to stay on and chat, they're welcome to do that. I have to hop off. I have a thing right now. So I'm gonna transfer it over to Sam.
And could you turn off the recording? Bye, Facebook people.
Bye, Facebook people.
Yeah.